Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. So today I want to talk about entrepreneurship and some specific topics in entrepreneurship. I was coaching someone today, one of my coaching clients, and we were talking about starting his business and his entrepreneurial ventures. And he was stressed out, right? Like most people that are starting any kind of entrepreneurial venture are. And it's totally understandable, right? He was asking me, like, how can I chill? And I was thinking about this. I'm actually not going to answer the question about how to chill, but today because I want to talk about something that we ended up talking about that I think is a really important concept for people to understand. I've talked about this probably at least one time on this channel, but this is something that is good enough of a topic that it deserves a reminder, and is something that you should definitely be aware of if you're considering being an entrepreneur or doing any kind of entrepreneurship, whether it be starting your own business or going out on your own as a consultant or starting a YouTube channel, right? Anything that is an entrepreneurial venture, this is something that you're going to have to face, and it's really not very apparent, right? I think a lot of people don't realize this thing that makes you so uncomfortable, or why it's so uncomfortable to be an entrepreneur. A lot of people often think, well, you know, I can do work and I can come up with ideas, and so why is it when I have to do that on my own, or, you know, I have the freedom to do that on my own, that it's so hard and so stressful? What about that makes that so much more difficult? So it's this concept I call wearing different hats. And I think I did a video on this a while ago, but I really want to hammer it here and talk about it from an entrepreneurial perspective, not just from the perspective of working your job, because as an entrepreneur, it's definitely something that I struggled with a lot. I still struggle with quite a bit. In fact, you know, I'll get into it a little bit more, but a little bit later down the road. But just doing this YouTube channel and trying to figure out what kind of content that I should produce and how I should produce it and what strategy I should be using is somewhat overwhelming, even for someone like me who's been down this path. Like, as I'm recording these videos, I'm wondering, right? I just did a book review and I was like, oh, I wonder if I should have done that book review, because it wasn't one of the books that was on my list, and did I talk about stuff too much, and, you know, whatever, right? Or was this even a good video? Was this even valuable? Okay. But so here's what I'm talking about. Okay, this is the basic concept of the hats. Okay, so let's say, you know, one from my own personal experience, and I think you could probably relate to this, is that if someone gives me a job, right? If I have a boss and my boss says, "Hey, John, I need you to do this. Like, this is what I need you to do. Go and do this thing." I can do it. I can follow orders really well. You tell me what you need done, and you tell me exactly what it is, I can figure out, I can get it done, I can deliver you results. I'm not even stressed about that, because you're giving me the instructions, right? As long as you tell me exactly what it is that you need me to do, I can do it. Whether that be doing something manual labor, whether that be writing a paper, writing a software program, or writing a book, making a YouTube video, you tell me the assignment, I can do it, boss, no problem. Not really any stress about doing that, okay? Now, the other thing that I can do is, if you put me in charge, if you make me the boss and you give me some people that are supposed to work under me, and you tell me, okay, what's the plan? If you say, you say what the plan is, okay, I can direct people. I can tell you what to do. I can say, all right, we need to do this and that and this, and I can make decisions, and I can be the boss. I can tell other people what work needs to be done, how they need to do it if necessary, and what the objective is. Assigning out tasks and assigning out what needs to be done, not a problem. I've been in that role in my career as a software developer. I've been in both roles, and either one I'm fine. But here's where the difficulty lies, and this is what an entrepreneur does, and this is really it seems kind of weird, right? Because if you can wear the one hat where you can just do the work, and you can wear the other hat where you can tell people what to do, shouldn't you be able to wear both hats, or switch between the hats, and be able to tell yourself what to do? And see, that's the thing. As an entrepreneur, what you have to do is you have to not only figure out what needs to be done and you're the one who do it, all right? And I mean, you got employees and stuff and whatnot, sure, but you're still setting the direction, but you have to execute as well and do that work. And that's where you start to second guess yourself. Most people can't handle freedom. That might have been what I called the video. And that's what you find as an entrepreneur. As soon as, as you're an employee and you're working for someone else, you're like, I just want to fucking be the boss. Or you're like, I just want to do it on my own. If I could run my own business, if I could decide where we're going to go and what we're going to do and just do it, I could be so successful. And you think that until you have the freedom, right? I mean, you take, I said I'd revisit this with the YouTube channel. I've got this YouTube channel, right? I've got 140,000 subscribers. I could do whatever I want to do on this channel, right? So it seems like, oh, well, isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? Well, that blank canvas is actually kind of stressful to some degree, right? I mean, I know, like, I've got a plan and whatnot, but here's the thing. I don't know if my plan is going to be successful. I don't know if anything I'm going to do is going to be successful or if I should be doing something else. So as an entrepreneur, you're constantly second guessing yourself, right? Both as, the decision maker, like wearing that hat of the decision maker, but also as the worker, right? Second guessing the decision maker, right? So as the decision maker, you're second guessing yourself saying, I don't know if these are the orders that I should be giving out. And as the worker, you're like, I don't know if those orders that I gave myself are the right ones. Because there's no chart, there's no path that you can follow, right? There's no one that can tell you, for example, let's take this YouTube channel. No one can say, hey, John, this is what you need to do in order to have a successful YouTube channel. You should be creating this content. This is what you should do. And there's some people who will have opinions, but no one can really tell you for sure in any kind of entrepreneurial venture whether or not if you do this, this will lead to success. And this is extremely stressful for most people, right? And see, why is it different in a work environment? Well, there's a couple reasons, but one of the main reasons why is because let's say that you're working for someone else and you're getting a salary, you're getting a paycheck, or whatever it is. They tell you what to do. They tell you the job that needs to be done and you do the job. You're getting paid. You've accomplished your task. You have a 100% guarantee that you can do that work, right? If you can figure out what needs to be done, if they're telling you what needs to be done, and you're going to get paid and the job will be successfully completed, and that's it, right? That's sort of the end of it. And if it doesn't work out for the business as a whole, it's not your fault, okay? And you're still getting paid, essentially, right? Same thing even if you're the boss. If you're the boss and you're telling other people what to do, realistically, it's not your money. It's not your company, right? I mean, you're working for someone else and you're making the decisions. It's almost like you've got a safety net because, and I've worked for big companies, like, when I worked for HP or any kind of the big companies I work for, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, I'm going to just make decisions based on what I think is right, but I don't have to pay the piper. I don't have to pay the consequences for that ultimately, right? I mean, yes, you make bad decisions, you can get fired from either role, but ultimately, like, you're disconnected from the bottom line and from the future of the company. Like, you don't feel like your decisions are so impactful to your own future, right? And again, you're still deferring to someone else. You're still saying, well, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do my job, this is my role. Whereas an entrepreneur, it's a totally different ball field, right? It is a totally different thing because, hey, what is the right thing, right? And what happens if you make the wrong decision? You're completely out on your own and you're completely responsible for that. So it's really hard to wear both of those hats, okay? It's a really, really difficult thing. And like I said, to have that freedom, to have that blank canvas is a lot more difficult than most people think. So a lot of people, they have these dreams of becoming an entrepreneur, working for themselves, or starting a business, and then they get crushed by reality because they realize that much freedom is not that good, right? And I'll tell you, for my own story, I've got some videos. I think I've got a series on my career story as a software developer if you're interested in that. But I tried to become an entrepreneur multiple times and I failed because I didn't have the work ethic that was required, because I cracked under the pressure, because when given that much freedom, I did not actually execute and get work done. Instead, I procrastinated, I sat on my ass, I played games, right? I deferred to someone else and said, well, wait till they make a decision and, they need to tell me what to do, instead of being a go-getter and being self-motivated and taking action myself. And, even though in my job, in my career, I was super successful and I was able to get things done, and I was able to be the boss, or I was able to be the worker, as an entrepreneur responsible for myself, okay? It was a much harder task, right? Now I've figured that out, right? Well, as much as anyone can figure that out, I'd say I'm still learning and I'm still progressing, and there's still a lot of stress, but now I'm used to the stress. I'm used to the pressure, and I realize that, you know, I'm going to make decisions, and some of them are going to be bad and some of them are going to be good, and I'm not going to know. There's no chart, right? There's no path that's laid out for me. No one can tell me, for example, how to run this YouTube channel. No one can tell me how to run Simple Programmer and give me an absolute guarantee. And so, you know, just something to think about is, you know, this concept in general. And just if you're considering being an entrepreneur, I don't want to discourage you, but I want you to realize that, you know, I think a lot of people that I coach, right, especially in business and entrepreneurship, they want to say, hey, John, give me the path to success. Tell me exactly what to do, and I'm going to go ahead and implement all these steps that you tell me, and then I'll be successful and I'll make a bunch of money. I'll have a successful company, or I'll have a successful YouTube channel or blog or podcast or whatever it is. And I can't really do that, right? I can give you I can give you some suggestions, give you some steps, give you some ideas, right? But ultimately, no one can tell you, right? I don't have the crystal ball. I can't tell you because there's so many factors involved in you know, entrepreneurship isn't like that, right? You're studying for an exam. I can tell you what to study, what questions to study, and I can tell you if you put in this much time and this much hours and this much work, you're probably going to have a high probability you're going to pass the exam, right? I mean, you can almost guarantee that. But for building a business, for entrepreneurship, for selling something online, there's not a guaranteed formula for success. And the people that are selling you something that says there is, that's their guaranteed formula for success, is selling, you know, suckers, you know, this false belief that there is some kind of guaranteed path. So again, like I said, none of this is meant to discourage you, but I was thinking about this, you know, as I'm coaching so many people, and I think this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs need to hear this message, or potential entrepreneurs, is that it is hard. It's supposed to be hard, and there's no one that's going to tell you the answers. You're going to have to figure this out on yourself. But I'll give you one last point here before, you know, this video is going a little bit long, but one saving grace, which is this process of going through all this shit that is hard, like making decisions when you don't know the answer and going into these uncomfortable situations, wearing those two hats, and taking chances and venturing out into the unknown, which is fucking terrifying, dealing with freedom, right? Handling it and learning to live with that blank canvas and to paint on your blank canvas every day. Those things, like going through that's going to expand you as a person. Like, you will gain so much, right? Even if you're not successful in business, even if you're not successful as an entrepreneur with this venture, you're going to grow yourself, right? You're going to become a larger version of yourself, and that capacity increase, right? And that's what you should be after, right? Because again, you know, I talk about all the time this idea of trusting the process, of not depending on results, because you can't control results. But the whole idea behind this trusting the process is knowing that if you put in the effort, if you put in the work, it doesn't guarantee a monetary reward. It doesn't guarantee a successful business or a YouTube channel or whatever it is you're trying to do. But what it does guarantee is that you will grow, right? You go through hard shit, you venture in this unknown path, and you will grow as a person, and your capacity will increase. And people who have bigger capacities have higher chances of success in everything that they do in life, right? And so that's the thing, is right. Focus on growing yourself. Focus on leaning into this fear and this uncomfortable feeling, knowing that the guaranteed result, okay, is that you will grow as a person and you will become a better version of yourself. You will increase your capacity, and just like leveling up in a video game, you'll have more attack power for whatever you try to attack in the future. And that's really, you know, the way you got to think about this, is especially when you're going through hard shit. A lot of times when I'm going through stuff, I'm like, oh man, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do here or whatever. I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to kind of figure this out. Like, I'm glad I'm in this situation, right? I'm thankful, grateful that I'm in this situation, because being in this situation that is uncomfortable for me, that I haven't encountered before, is going to gain me experience, and that experience is going to help me in the future, right? As I've seen more situations, as I grow in capacity and my ability to handle stress and to handle the unknown and to handle just more of the things that life is going to throw at me, and to be able to rein in this freedom that I've got. All right? So there's my little pep talk, or you might, for some of you it'll be a downer. Some of you might say, well, fuck that, I'm not being an entrepreneur. Okay, that's cool. At least someone told you the truth. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Click the bell to make sure you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.